Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next Coach's Corner. And as sad as it is, I mean, as happy as it is to see Jeremie Rollett top left again and
Hello.
Gary Smith on the bottom.
Hey, good.
It's great to see you guys, but I surely appreciate it much more, and it's much more fun when we meet live at Skydive City or over fish and beer or at the drop zone compared to here now on Zoom. So it's the next Coach's Corner, and it's a Coach's Corner that we are familiar with, at least with Jeremie and Gary. We've done it before. Joey Jones was supposed to join us for updates from his world, but he's on the road. So although it would be interesting to see how it works from the road, you know, he can do Zooming basically from everywhere.
I think Joey can do everything.
Yeah. Jeremie, let's begin with you. You are in France.
Yeah, for 3 months now, maybe more than 3 months, because we stopped the camp by mid-March, right before Shamrock, the week before Shamrock. So now we have 3 months coming without any training, indoor, outdoor, as everybody. So yeah, I'm at home, and for the last 15 or 20 years, it's never happened before. So it's a very special break for the family, for kids, my kids, for me as well. But now we expect to restart as soon as possible, and we are ready for the next 15, 20 years on the road again.
I was just wanting to ask exactly that question. Where, you know, what can you think that you have ever been at home for 3 months in a row in the last decades?
Yeah, never. It's never happened. But
yeah. Are you teaching your children? They don't go to school, right?
Yeah. I can see the. Yeah. Still for now they start to come back school, but it's only 2 days per week, so we have to teach them for the rest. But it's very interesting, and as we know, many people die, and it's big trouble in hospital and all around the world. It's a big drama what's happened, but for me, and it's very special to say that, but it was a good time with family and kids, and I'm on the lucky side. So, but yes, now for skydiving, for all the industry, for the teams, for the drop zone, for the instructors, everything must restart now. We need to restart because we don't want to have unemployment for all these peoples.
Are you homeschooling, Gary? You have 2 young men there.
I'm too stupid, good. I'm not. No, Luca has finished his exams, so he has passed this year, 2 weeks ago, and Yannick in the Dutch school, he's doing fine. They have a final tests coming up, and that. But the kids have just gone back to school, but they go only similar to France, limited days per week. So, but I think from what I've heard from today, the junior schools everybody's back full day. So things have definitely opened up here very, very quickly in Holland.
Last time we spoke was on April 29th. That's like over a month ago already by now. I cannot believe how quickly time goes by. That was with Joey in another Coach's Corner. And things have changed quite a bit ever since, because many countries are beginning to open. You know, France, Jeremie just said, is ready to, you know, to bring back activities. Does that count for skydiving activities and tunnel activities? In fact, we haven't heard much from France at all, Jeremie. You actually, you know, you live in France. You are in France. You're not coaching French teams at the moment. You know, you're not the national coach any longer, but you know things. So tell us something about France.
It's not open yet. They are still waiting the green light from the French government. So it's not open yet. So it's still no skydiving in France until today. So I think the tunnel already reopened for the without any group, so you can fly alone in the chamber, but for skydiving it's still on the ground. So we expect in the next days, maybe within 2 weeks, the green light from the government to restart. And I don't know exactly if it will be for tandems and AFF and fan jumpers and teams, and I don't know exactly who can jump when they're gonna open again, but actually it's still on the ground.
But the wind tunnels are open for teams too, or only for
No, for individuals. Yeah, I'm not sure 100%, but it's what I heard. So all the team sports are still stopped. So yes, that's the point now, the situation now. And yes, but in other countries in Europe, everything everything is different. I saw Portugal is open again. Maybe Gary can say more about Germany. I don't know.
Yeah.
So basically, the French teams are in the same situation as Hayabusa is, basically, right, Gary?
They expect last week. They expect last week to restart a camp, but they cancel it a few days before because they were not allowed to go in a camp.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think sorry, from my side, it's the same here. Although Germany has opened, and I know one drop zone in the south, Illertissen, Skydive Paranoden, they are open and teams can jump there. So it's possible there, but of course, right now in Europe, borders have been closed, quarantine. So I think it's only the German teams that have been training there. But as far as Holland goes, as far as Belgium is not open yet. I just read an article, I think I got one last night from Hayabusa, that Belgium will only open on July the 1st, maybe the 1st or the 3rd. July, it will be the Belgium drop zones. And then they are not even sure who will jump, as Jeremie says, who can jump. So for sure it's slower here in Europe. But again, as Jeremie said earlier, in the thing is that people are dying, and I think if we just rushed back and decided, hey, this is all for our sport, you have to be careful of how it goes. And it is opening up, and I think it will happen. I think faster than we think. Once the one door opens, the next door opens, and it starts to go. But as far as I know, the only place in the, like Germany, I know Scandinavia is open as far as I know, but I heard also that they had to restrict again. So I cannot say much more. In Holland, they are jumping now. The drop zones are open, but not for teams. So you can do solos and you can do tandems. So I don't know how they got the tandems passed, but you can do tandems in Holland, but you cannot do two ways or team jumping right now.
But the circumstances are surely and obviously different in all the countries, and it's not like this is coordinated in any way. So how there will be an impact on the performance, because there will be a big difference between the first country that has opened up and the last country that is opening up. Yes. Because there's time difference, obviously. What do you think the impact will be of that? Jeremie, like both of you, you're coaching the Qatar teams. Are they completely locked out still, Jeremie, your 8-way team?
Yeah, because the situation in Qatar is getting better, but it's not perfect as well. So they are not allowed to travel. And even if they want to come in Europe, they are not allowed to come because all the borders out of Europe are still closed. So we have to find another location. So yes, they are still locked in Qatar. So we can't restart training right now. We expect by mid-July maybe, if the things are going better again in Europe, and if they start to reopen the borders with the non-European countries, maybe we can restart by mid-July. It's our wish with Gary. But yes, it's very long break, And a few months ago, when they decided to cancel the World Meet, we were all sad. But now you can see the big impact for the teams, for the countries, for all the people. So yes, if they didn't postpone the World Meet to 2022, we will be in big trouble right now if we have to prep a meet in 1 month and a half or 2 months.
Yeah. So, but the teams still have to make up in the meantime, right? So how unjust, if you can say so, do you think that is? You know, that some teams will just have a head start of maybe a few months even, Gary.
Yeah. I think the only team ahead of anybody right now is the US teams, because we know that Paraclete is open and the US teams can use the tunnel, and they also jump in. So yes, there might be the Swedish team, but other than that, I don't think any other team is gaining except the US team. So with regards to the four-way, yes, it hurts the Tigers a little bit. It hurts the Qatar 8-way, and it will hurt the French a little bit, and maybe even the Russians that the US teams are training. But I think we lose a month and a half. And I think in all those teams, if I speak for Qatar, if I speak for Belgium, if I speak for the French 8-way for sure, I don't think there's panic there. You know, sometimes I think they'll come back with more hunger, more drive, more passion, thinking we're behind. And when you're sitting in the plane, it makes you work harder if you know that you still have to catch up, you know. So for me, from a coaching point of view, I try and turn it into a positive. I mean, there's nothing we can do. We can jump up and down, and it'll never always be fair. And we also know sometimes you are on a team that is, or a coach in a team that's not sponsored. And they don't have the resources to make 1,000 jumps a year and so much tunnel. So you have to just turn it into a positive and say, you know, we just have to work harder, be fitter, be stronger.
Well, all the teams that we've been talking about now, they're all medal contenders. You know, the Falcons, the Tigers, the French teams, Hayabusa, the US teams, they're all medal contenders. So there, it is on a quite professional level by now. Would it not make a difference there? I mean, do you have more like a disadvantage, or do you apply the same thoughts, like they will make it up by energy and motivation and that kind of thing?
For me, the same. I think I've coached it all the time, especially Hayabusa with the Falcons when I was with the 8-way and with the Tigers. If you go to a training day and you're not driven and motivated, you're wasting your day. So every day you jump, and even if you make only 10 days and those are good jumps, it motivates you. You get stronger quicker. Yes, if you lose half a year, then it's a different story, you know. But right now, I think we'll be a month and a half behind. With the like Jeremie says, everybody's been home. They've been with their families. I had Hayabusa on the app this afternoon, and they're all eager to start. Cannot wait to get back. So that's the passion you need. And if you've been jumping for 2 months in quarantine is difficult, or when you're the only ones on the drop zone, it's hard to motivate yourself. So there's also a negative on let's say the US team side. You've got you leading, and you've got to keep pushing yourself. And the other teams are, you know, like an explosion, like a bomb ready to explode when they start up again.
So I see, Jeremie, you are nodding. You know, you agree with all that, obviously. So it could be a creative break or rejuvenating break, even.
Yeah, as Gary said, we have to see the positive side, and we have more time, a lot of time. So also it's a chance for us to restart with basic, to be focused on the small things. Maybe we were in the race already in March. We were in Shamrock preparation, so already dealing with the average, the performance, the global things. So now we have time to come back to the small things. Maybe we didn't took the time to fix a few months ago. So yes, I take it like a chance, if we can say that, to be focused again on the small things and work hard on the small things. and the details and the basic 1-1, 2-2. So it's yeah, we have to take it on this way. And yeah, we have a lot of time now until next Shamrock.
And to make up, yeah, exactly. So we have USBA nationals are scheduled.
Yeah.
Now in Europe, we don't have any except for the Indoor World Cup. There are no events scheduled in Europe, right? So you may have to, if the travel restrictions are gone, then the USBA nationals could become an option, or are an option anyway. And then the Shamrock, beginning of next year, of course. Is that on your travel and event agenda already by now for both?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, for sure. If we can travel and if we can.
Gary,
right now,
we lost you again. Sorry.
Oh man, sorry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we fixed the technical troubles here. Didn't take too long, luckily. Where were we? We were discussing the differences between and the advantages, disadvantages between the teams with a restart. And we figured out that it could be an advantage actually to be more motivated and creative and rejuvenated. So interesting situation. Training, let's talk about training. So individual training is possible. Like Andy Growitz.
Yes.
Did you see that video?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think?
And he's done more of them as well. And I can say once or twice we've looked at the video and we had no idea what he was doing. So we kind of joked a little bit with him, but yeah, it's something to do, right? He loves to fly in the tunnel, and he said it's the only way he could get in. And he was in Windor, so he went to the tunnel and he flew.
I know a few people who told me, how can I live without four-way?
Yeah.
There are probably just enough people who would just say, how can I live without flying? So I can see that. I mean, it is tough especially if you're a pro, and I mean, especially Hayabusa, they are pros, right? I mean, that's all they do.
Yeah. Yeah, but that goes, I think it goes also for the top, all the top. The Russians have to be considered, the French as a federation team. I mean, I don't know their personal lives, if they have other jobs. I know some of them work in tunnels here and there, but they have to be considered in our sport as pros. Arizona Airspeed, pro, of course, Golden Knights. So I think that the good thing in our sport is there's been a uplift in the amount of pro teams, and then of course you have the gap, and then you get be it Sweden, Switzerland, all those teams that you cannot call them fully amateur teams because they're making a lot of jumps, and there is some form of sponsorship in the teams, So I think in that sense it's good. It's good for the sport that we don't just have one team out there or two teams as pro teams. It's always nice if the more pro teams, or the more everybody can be on an equal footing for the sport, the better.
Jeremie, you're coaching you're the professional coach for the Qatar teams now, the official technical coach, and but you are French still. How are the French teams dealing with this? I'm sure you talk to them or you meet with them, some of them at least, and your colleague Mathieu, I haven't heard from him, but it's probably extremely difficult in France, for as well.
They are doing like us. We are waiting.
Waiting. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think it's nothing different for them. We are all in the same boat. Yeah. We have all the teams. You said, Gary said that the long list of teams. We don't have too much problem with the budget, with the time to jump, so enough time. So no, we are just waiting now. All the reopen drop zone, and we want to be able to come back to the hard training. But right now we are doing like us, just waiting the green light.
We were talking about events too. I remember now that USBA Shamrock is still happening, at least in the US. there are actually some leagues now opening up to Arizona Skydiving League, Florida, and Texas, California, Southern California. They're beginning to try to run some meets even. While in Europe, that still has to come, right? There are no national championships anywhere, correct? Not that I know.
No, as far as I know, everything's been cancelled here. You know, I don't think maybe something small might open up or come about. I know Germany, Paranodon, they want to run their mini meets there.
Oh, they do?
Yes,
Okay.
they want to run it. I haven't heard any more.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some other stuff. In the meantime, also, we know that Hayabusa has, we didn't talk, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but Hayabusa, we know that Mikhail, Mike will come in for David a year earlier than expected. And we also had a personnel change for the US team, STC Rhythm XP. We have a new member there, Christy Fricken. So did that surprise you? Or was that kind of something that you expected?
Jeremie.
Oh, you. You first.
No, I think I've commented on it, and I don't know if it was to you, Kurt. I think, yes, it was a surprise because, number one, I did not know that Christie's name was in the hat. I knew that they were trying out some new guys and younger talent. But then it's a case of maybe it's been a smart choice, because if you had taken a new guy and you were in quarantine and you couldn't train that much, although we know the US teams are now training, but they must have made the decision not knowing how much they could jump. And especially if there's a setback and there's a second wave and things close down. They went for experience in a way, and Christy comes with experience. I read your article that she has beaten Hayabusa twice.
Yeah, she is one of the few people who have beaten Hayabusa, right?
Yeah, so she comes in with experience, and they do know her. They've jumped. She's been in the team for 3 years, you know, in previous lineups, so they know her. And obviously, I think not only do you need the most talented person, but you need somebody that can help the team dynamics, especially in the short run now. I mean, we basically we have 1 year and 2 months, and we're back into a Mondial. So I think they made a smart decision. And I also think as Airspeed had Matt, and they could have stuck with Matt with experience, but they knew they had 3 years to go. So then they decided to clean the slate and come up with 2 new young guns, you know, and I think that's a smart decision. So I think Christy, yes, a surprise, but I can understand the decision.
The other thing that is also came in, I looked into the history again a little bit these days, you know, with Christy, you know, as defeating Hayabusa, one of the few people, at least in the current history, and who are still active. And then also it will be the second time in history that there will be a world meet without Golden Knights and Airspeed. That's an interesting, totally new thing.
Although you've got some members plugging in from Airspeed and Golden Knights.
Yeah,
you know? But yes, I know what you mean.
Not too many though, you know. That's well, if you take Kirk Werner is actually also in former Airspeed, so he not only Niklas and
Matt was either Airspeed and Golden Knights. So there is a wealth of the two teams in there. But I hear what you say. It's not the team. It's not Airspeed 8 or Golden Knights.
The name is in there somehow because they've renamed the team. It's Airspeed XP8 now. So the name Airspeed at least is a part of it. And all right, well. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
No, but maybe it's just for this world meet. Maybe we can't know what's happened after. But Golden Knight 8 Wave are working hard already, and Airspeed as well. So probably they will be in the race to be in a national team for the next world meet. And I hope we keep 2022 World Meet as well. I think we need 2 World Meet in a row, and we don't have to wait 2 more years after 2021. So it will be important for teams, for the dynamic to restart, to give energy to everybody, to have 2 world meets in a row, like they did 20 Gap and Croatia.
2000,
Yeah, 2003,
2003, 2004.
For me, it will be important for sports to run it like this.
Yeah, would be important to tell Stretch about that. You know, the chairman of the committee was asking actually directly. You know, he wants feedback. So if you forward this information to him, he'll appreciate that. You know, they're trying to figure it out. They didn't have, you know, I don't know if you listened to that conversation that I had with him when he was on NSL Live Talk, and he said it clearly. They don't have a plan yet, but they're collecting feedback. So they can make those kind of decisions. You know, no event. There's no event schedule in stone yet. So that'll be important.
Because even if it's a busy period with the indoor world meet, outdoor, even if it's too busy year, doesn't matter. It's better than to wait again 2 long year to the next world meet.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so
he will listen to it.
Point.
You will listen to it. You will get this information, obviously. So that will be important. Well, you mentioned Golden Knights and Airspeed XP8 before. Yeah, it will be interesting. So USBA Nationals this year, even though it has no impact on the World Meet qualification, it will show where Golden Knights and Airspeed XP8 will be. And then it will show where Airspeed 4-way and Rhythm will be at this point in time. And you will probably be there, right? I mean, you have it on your...
Yeah, it's what we start to say before the break. Our plan with Gary, it's to have 2, if we can restart by mid-July, we want to run 2 long camps this summer and 1 more after, and then moving to the Hills for the US National. So that's on our schedule. So yes, we want to come if it's possible with the borders.
It's maybe even more important or more relevant or helpful for you than for the US teams. You know, the US teams are qualified anyway, but for you will see, you know, where everybody is.
Yeah.
We are not in the same situation. I think Gary is on the middle position, as you say. For us, we have to be realistic, and the 3 top teams in the world, they are ahead. So the first thing is to reduce the gap with them. So that it's not a long term, but step by step, we have to work hard to come back on the race, in the middle position, middle race. But actually, we are not in. So that's the position for the 8-way.
Mm-hmm. Even more important to see how far the distance is by now, right? And Hayabusa and Fireflash were planning to show up at the USBA Nationals too, right, Gary? As far as I remember.
Yeah, I don't know the Fireflash details, and of course now with the Corona, I'm not sure of the exact planning. But I know Hayabusa did talk about going to Z Hills again. So and I don't know if the dates coincide. So I don't know their exact planning.
Okay, to finish it up, you may have seen also, you know, recently that I was asking the US Legends Information Skydiving competition a specific question at the USBA Nationals, and I would like to ask you actually the same question right now to get some additional feedback. And the question was by then, why teams and competitors should compete as much as possible. So yeah, I would like to get your answers to that too. Why is it? What are the advantages of it? There were all kind of, you know, there was fantastic feedback, and I'm sure with your experience and knowledge, you can also provide some, you know, interesting points why it is beneficial for teams information skydiving competition to go to meets. Gary, let's begin with you.
Yeah, I haven't heard all the answers, so I hope I'm not repeating any of the others. But I think the more meets you can do, the more you can put yourself in a situation that you find in training you never have. Like in training, you can do everything as you plan it. You can be calm, and all of a sudden in a meet environment, you find that your teammates are a little bit irritated, agitated, a little bit short with you, blunt. So your team dynamics is different, and you can never put the ground stuff into it. Your free fall, you can simulate very similar, but it comes more so from the ground. It's like, for example, if I have to look at soccer as just one sport, when you look at the soccer players, Barcelona versus Real Madrid is a big game, but they play these games all the time. So the players are less nervous than the spectators watching it or the people on the outsides, because the players play those games all the time. So the more that we can compete with our teams, and I think that's why Jeremie and I want to take Qatar to the US Nationals, because they get one more meet before they're going to go into the Mondial or the Shamrock. So the more meets you can do, the better you have as a coach and as a player where you're going to place yourself, or how your performance is going to be. Because otherwise you're going to arrive at the Mondial in Russia with no idea how it's going to be in round one. You could have trained and you can have the top training and arrive there and just think, whoa, it's going the other direction. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're just going to watch your ship go down.
And then let me add this onto it by the end, before we go to Jeremie with the same question. There was new stuff already in the aspect of, the dynamics actually, that was interesting. But let's talk another minute about round one. Yeah. What is the experience of, what role does round one play in this whole experience?
Well, if I go on to the round one, for the teams, that's always, you hear teams land and always go, wow, it is great to get, at least we got round one out the way. But it should never be like that, because if you train more, the round one will not be the problem. And I always go to it, your round 1 to 10 should feel the same. If you can make it feel the same and it's that easy, then you've trained correctly. But if you go, you're so nervous for round one, we understand it because we've seen the draw, all the teams are running around, everyone's nervous. Everybody decides the day before to take a day off or just do one jump. We never do that. We do 10, 12 jumps and training as many as we can, hit the tunnel, do what you can. Now all of a sudden everybody starts to sit back, have an ice cream on the drop zone, or we never do that. And now all of a sudden, so you put in pressure on yourselves. Take the day off, go and have pancakes at the IHOP, whatever. That's your ideal start. And then you come to round one and everyone is so nervous because what type of build-up was it? And that for me, you should never do that.
If you think back, were you able to train yourself to the point where it would feel like round one is just another round?
No, but we tried. We did try, but no. And why? If you look at it and you compare yourself to other sports, and that was where I was going with these football players, they play top games Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 3 times in a week, or twice a week. They're playing El Clasicos or top of the leagues against each other. So eventually they walk in through the tunnel onto the pitch. They look around at the big stadium, see the people, look and smile at their teammate, and probably say, those guys are more nervous than us, and they go out and play. But in our sport, no, because we don't have enough meets.
Mm-hmm. Jeremie, Rollett, why do you think teams and competitors should go to meets?
But first of all, as Gary said, this is the goal. You don't want to be world champion of training jumps. So everybody can be very strong in the training, but the deal with the competition, it's the goal. So that's the main thing. And many sports, the teams, they don't have time to train too much. For example, basketball teams, golf players, tennis players, they don't have too much time to train and fix the small things. So they need a long break if they want to change something in their and slice, move, or what you want, a swing or shoot in a basketball. So yeah, most of sports they have many games, competitions each weekend, sometime twice a week, sometime, and they don't train too much. So for us, it's very good to compete as much as possible. Then it's a balance as well, because if you see you start to be stuck with your average, with your performance, maybe it's time to make a balance with training and competing. But yes, we need to compete a lot, and if we are focused only in one big event, the main one each year, it's too long. So you need to, what you feel in the training and the last week before the meet, you give more. Even if you try to give your best each days, it's always easier to be more in and to give more when you know that the competition is coming soon. So if you have 3, 4, 5, 6 in the year, it's helping you to give your best.
And last question, what is your experience with round 1?
I agree with Gary. I said maybe 1,000 times, it's not 10 rounds, it's 10 times 1 round. So round 1 is the same as round 2, and it's true. And we try to deal with that and to go and to think on this way, to keep this state of mind. But for my experience, it was always a little bit special. But I think also we have to know it's always a good jump. I don't remember a bad jump for round 1, because you are so focused on it. You don't want to launch your competition with a bad one. So all your sense, everything isn't the good way for the round 1. So it's always a special one, but at the end it was always a good one. So most of the time it was a good one. So it was a good pressure, and also you wait the round 1 because you want to be in. It's more than that's the thing. You want to start. So yeah, it's a little bit special for sure, but at the end it was many times a good one.
The competition is 10 times round 1, and you don't want to be the world champion of training. And you want to train the dynamics on the ground. You want to know who your teammates are when it comes to round 1. Wow, Grace, that was great. Thank you. That was very new and different compared to all the other feedback. Ladies and gentlemen, this was information and feedback from 2 of the most experienced formation skydiving competitors and coaches in the world. So we should all appreciate that very much. I do, at least. So thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
Yeah, thank you, Kurt.
To talk and for the valuable information that we can take from this. Thank you very much. Again, good luck. And I hope next time we see each other again at the drop zone, and then over a beer at the
golf club.
And a golf club. Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you. See you.